I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing so much content on the internet about the UK's in decline, the UK economy, the UK society, everything's going downhill. And I understand that videos with negative titles do unfortunately get a lot more views and essentially watchers than positive videos, but I want to make a more positive video today. I want to speak about why I think everybody's wrong about trying to leave the UK. The big thing that I'm hearing is that the economy's in decline, services are in decline, and you know what? There is a lot of truth to that. At the same time, this is still one of the richest countries in the world, and a lot of the problems that we're facing here in the UK are not exclusive to the UK. The cost of living is exceptionally high. A lot of wages for a lot of jobs are proportionally quite low. Property is extremely hard to buy, source, and especially rent. At the same time, whilst these all make great headlines, or whilst these are all real world issues that we all face, by the way, I'm not ignorant to it, I'm fully aware of this, right? There's this big movement on the internet that a lot of countries in the world are doing substantially better. Now here is the thing. I am not going to say that the UK is going to be the best place in the world for everyone to live. I think that would be unrealistic. Some people, even if you are born in the UK, will be a better suit to a different culture, or a different country, or a different climate. This is the reality. But this video is going to be for the average person, right? And the average person seems to have this idea that the UK is in complete decline. And yeah, there are a lot of issues going on here. At the same time, you are not going to escape these issues for your average person by going overseas. We've spoken about the fact that you're going to need a stable income, a strong income in a strong currency, which most people don't have, right? You know the UK culture quite well, and especially when you start to compare this to other cultures, right? The reality of it is a lot of people haven't weighed up their options fully. This idea of the UK being in decline, well, there's still a lot of opportunities out there. Then you start to weigh up the options of moving to, let's say, cheaper countries. Well, often they are cheaper countries because they are poorer countries. The average income is lower. So if you're going to get a job there, you're not going to most likely be much better off. It's the people who have online incomes who are going to be richer. Moving back to that point though about opportunities still being in the UK. And again, a lot of people will not like this because I'm not going to say it's easy, it's exceptionally difficult. But at the same time, there are a lot of chances here still, right? There are a lot of chances. Especially in the north of England, there are still relatively affordable properties, and Scotland and Wales. I'm not saying that's the ideal solution, but they can still be had. Maybe not the best properties, but it's still an opportunity, right? Decent jobs can still be had as well. And in terms of looking around, especially if you are an entrepreneur, right? We know that when you get to a certain point, I've spoken about this before, the tax system is basically broken. You start having to pay VAT, the amount of tax as a rate you have to pay is very, very high, but a very small amount of people watching a video like this will be over the, let's say, 80 to 90,000 pound mark running a business in revenue. So that doesn't even apply for them. The reality of the world is, I would rather, personally, just me, I would rather be poor in a rich country than poor in a poor country, right? I think that one makes a lot of sense. The UK is still a place where you can make something decent of yourself. You really can. It may take a lot of hard work. It may take a lot of struggle, it may take a lot of challenge. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it can still be done. And I feel like the reason why everybody is complaining, yes, we have a right to, because a lot of services are going in decline. And people do need to question where the government the government, where is all the money gone, right? We need to pay X amount of tax to fill this black hole. Where did it get spent in the first place? Nobody acknowledges that to the degree that they should. At the same time, if we're talking job opportunities, career opportunities, investment opportunities, this is still one of the richest countries in the world. And is the wealth evenly distributed? No. But a lot of people who have this idea that the UK is in decline fail to acknowledge that millions of people still want to come here every year. Want to, right? And a lot of times risk everything too. And also, they fail to acknowledge that there are certain markets and certain places where success is easier to be had than ever. The amount of people who I've spoken to recently who say, yeah, getting a degree is pointless. An office job is not going to pay for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And I don't think it is going to pay that well. But there are new opportunities. For example, how many people these days take up plumbing? How many people take up electrics? How many people take up being a car mechanic? Not that many. Not that many. And people who do go into these markets, these industries, I'm not saying that they're all rich, right? But out of the people who I've spoken to, out of the people who I know, these people are still having a very decent life, right? I am an online business owner. I do reselling, I make these YouTube videos, and a few other things on the side, right? I still have a very decent life. I'm 21. The reality of it is this: there is going to be struggles in every part of the world, and this is a thing, right? You may look at the UK and say high taxes, bad weather. Well, the bad weather we can't really control, right? So that is a fair one. High taxes, still fairly bad to a degree, but low prospects of opportunity, great prospects in a lot of other fields though. Sales jobs can pay very well. Like I say, physical jobs can pay very well. People do not assess the situation appropriately before making these big sweeping statements. And like I say, I am not saying that the situation is ideal. I make a video like this, I try and say some positive things while still acknowledging some blatant facts, like the fact there is a housing crisis, like the fact that taxes do, in my opinion, seem to be quite high, actually a little bit too high. So we can acknowledge all of these things. At the same time, a lot of people do not like to acknowledge the positives here, the opportunities here. There are a lot of people making a lot of money. There are a lot of people who want to come here. There are a lot of people who come to the UK, right? And they make very, very good lives for themselves, even now. Even now. And I understand that we hear these articles about millionaires wanting to leave because of taxes, because of they don't feel like they're getting good value for their money, and that's true. But most people watching this aren't millionaires. Most people watching this, I'm not trying to be rude, but probably will never be millionaires. So to say, well, millionaires are leaving at a fast pace, well, great, they've got all the opportunities. If I was a multimillionaire, I'd probably be living in Dubai. I'd probably be living in Monaco, because I feel like these are oftentimes going to provide a better quality of life. But the reality of it, going back to the first point, is if you're Joe Average, which most people are, not necessarily anything wrong with that, but if you are, where are you going to get better opportunities? In a country where the minimum wage is, 30 times lower than the UK? And you don't have any transferable skills or an online income or millions in the bank? And I'm not saying this to say, well, the UK is the best country for everyone, it's going to be amazing. No, but it's about doing an appropriate analysis, assessment, and nobody is doing it when we talk about this, right? A lot of people will not be able to get high-tech jobs in the US for better pay. A lot of people will not have an online income to move to Thailand or South America. If you are, then we are not talking about you, right? I have an online income. That gives me a lot of location flexibility, and you may see a little bit more about that in the next couple months, but I'm going to keep that secret for now. Anyway, my point is this, right? If you're Joe Average, nothing wrong with it, but you work in an office or a shop, or where are you going to have better opportunities, right? Again, maybe the US at a push, maybe possibly Canada, maybe Australia, but guess what? All of these countries have the same issues, if not more, than the UK, right? Expensive housing, high taxes, in some ways services which are in decline. So unless you're going to transfer your jobs or build an online income, then where is the better opportunities going to be, right? And I'm not saying that everybody can upskill. And here's the thing. I know nobody's going to watch this all the way until the end. Leave me a comment if you did. But I know nobody's going to watch to this point to hear my balanced solution, right? Because I know that not everybody can upskill. Not everybody can build an online business. Not everybody can get a decent job. Not everybody in the UK is living well. A lot of people are living bad. Homelessness is on the increase. I can make a balanced argument and agree that all of these things are completely true. But here's the big thing. Western Europe, US, North America in general, are going to have mostly the same problems. Maybe slightly better. And yes, I do agree that for some people, moving to Germany, moving to America, moving to, I don't know, Venezuela even, will be a much better opportunity. But for a lot of people, they do not have the genuine drive to push themselves to either build an online business, upskill to build something that's going to be successful in that market, and or transfer their entire lives over there. So you start to weigh it up, and this is not a negative point. People say this is negative. It's not. It's positive. It means that you have all of the opportunities in the world, right? There's still a lot to be had here. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to get easier. I think it's going to get harder. But a lot of my audience, and this is why some people will say, well, that doesn't apply to me because I'm a 40-year-old. Well, fair enough. But I make these videos for people in my position. If you're older watching my videos, I've still got a lot of love for you and I respect you watching. At the same time though, I can't comment on the situation of a 40-year-old woman. That's not a life that I've ever lived. I can comment on the situation of a 20, 21, 23-year-old man, because that's where I am in life. So no disrespect to anybody else, but I can only give a realistic analysis of people in my situation. And if you're a young man, adult, or woman, but I'm going to say man because I am a man, where are you going to have better opportunities unless you build an online business? And where is a better... And if you want to build an online business, start here. We can say, well, I'm going to get taxed at this. Well, you can worry about that later, right? Obviously pay taxes, obviously do everything correctly, but you do not have a transferable income right now anyway. So this concept of moving or the UK's in decline, not entirely true for everybody. I've been to places in the last couple of weeks where people are living with unimaginable amounts of wealth. Unimaginable amounts of wealth. Seriously. And I don't say this to dismiss any of the real world problems, but I'm saying this: if you're a young adult born in the UK and you're saying that the UK is in decline, or this isn't working, that isn't working, there's still opportunities. You just need to find them. They're not going to be easy. It might involve working 40 hours a week. It might involve working 50 hours a week. It might involve changing careers. It might involve upskilling. It might involve building a business. It might involve all of those things. But are there still opportunities? Yeah. Are certain things in the UK in decline? Absolutely, they are. Do we have social issues, new and old, that are getting exasperated? Yeah. But is there still a lot of opportunity here? A lot of the time, yes. And like I say, if you are your average person, where are you going to find better opportunities without upskilling or building a business, right? They do exist, but for people who are really seeking them. And a lot of people just sit here and moan whilst failing to acknowledge the new opportunities that we have here in the UK and in the world. Internet businesses, online incomes, different jobs which are now in demand, different jobs that now exist. All of these things are new, or the demand for them is new or increasing. It's not about complaining entirely, right? We can complain. People say you can complain or you can shut up and get on with it, and I don't agree with that. There's certain things that are going wrong that we need to address. If we fail to address certain things, we're just sleepwalking into a nightmare. And that goes for anything in life. At the same time, though, this idea that there's no opportunities, people do not, I think, really think this one through to the full degree that they need to. If you're not in the UK or another rich country, France, Germany, USA, and you don't have an online income, what's going to work out better for you? And I know there's going to be some people where the answer is yes, and like I say, moving around Europe or the US may work, but this idea the UK is in complete decline and there's no success for anybody, and a lot of people who are successful, I'm doing fairly okay myself, I'd like to hope, you know,